Good morning. I wasn't even going to make a video today, and then something is weighing on my heart quite a bit that I wanted to share with you guys. I don't know if you've seen that video going around Facebook. I don't even think I've watched it yet, but I have read the story about the setup of the parents with the guy that's talking to girls online and seeing if they'll meet up with them in public or meet up with them. The guy's, pretending to be a teenage boy, I think, and trying to talk to these girls to see if what kind of information that these kids would give out, and if they would meet up with them without knowing them and who they were and all that. It's kind of like a safety test, and then the parents are there, and I need to watch the video, but I get the gist of the premise. And we're raising our kids in such a different generation than we were brought up in. No cell phones, no internet back in our teenage years, and sneaking out of the house or cruising down the strip, drinking or smoking cigarettes, having boyfriends, meeting up with kids we weren't supposed to be hanging out with. And that was kind of the gist of it, and not that that was good. But I think as parents now, we have such a greater battle to fight. The kids have access to so much information. And yes, we have to trust our kids, and we have to teach them right and raise them well, and then rely on their good judgment for a lot of, their experience with the internet and stuff. And I've said for years, I know we started giving our kids cell phones as a society, and I did with my kid. We didn't have a home phone. I made sure she had a little track phone, or a phone that could just talk and text to make sure I could keep up with her. She's a latchkey kid getting off the bus after school. And we lived in a bigger city, and there would be crazy things happening. One time her school bus was diverted because there was an active shooter at the high school nearby. So, I wanted to be able to have her in contact for safety. Taryn, my kid, she's always been well behaved, and I've always trusted her. However, she is getting into high school, and after watching some things, hearing some speakers, and then seeing that little story really made me think. I've had a rule with my kids since the day she got a phone, and especially a smartphone, that she will not set a password on that phone, that she is a minor. Her safety and her activity are my business and my responsibility. She is to turn over that phone anytime I ask for it. There is no passwords. There is no, I used to say no social medias that I didn't have the passwords for. But basically I just friend her on all the social medias. And I've talked to a couple other parents that are like this. We want to know who our kids are hanging out with. And no better way than to see what their friends are posting online. It's so eye-opening. I've done this with even friends' children. So, if you know me and you have a social media, I probably know more about you than you want me to. But it's not just out of being nosy, and it's not even out of being strict. It's out of being concerned. There's been too many children that have committed suicide or been bullied or gotten into addictions or bad behaviors, or who are self-harming and no one knows, but it's all over the internet. I would feel horrible if I were the last to know something about my child that was publicly, put out there on some social media site. And I know this is going to run a little bit longer of a video, and I apologize, but it's such an important topic. I try to make sure that I have access to all her sites, and occasionally, if there's stuff that I feel is not appropriate, I kind of remind her, is that something that you would like your youth pastor to see or your grandma to see? If you're not comfortable with what you're posting, that anyone and everyone can see it, you're putting it out there for the public. And no, grandma may not be able to find, this certain account, but that's not the concept. The concept is I want you to understand that you need to be putting out there what you're comfortable with your reputation being, basically. And I'm saying all that leads up to something else. I've seen some teenage girls posting things out there online like, 17 and looking, here's my name, here's my age, here's my state. they think it's so innocent and so harmless, and it's so dangerous. I mean, that's what that video was getting at. It was how much these kids trust people they don't even know, or they just carelessly put all this information, and they may know, but they think, oh, it's not going to happen to me. But I mean, there's a couple of those girls that if I were a kidnapper or a pedophile, it wouldn't be that hard to locate them, and get talking to them and do something exactly like that stunt on Facebook. And that's scary. That is terrifying. Terrifying. And then you just search some of these, you know, Pinterest and Instagram and Tumblr and Ask FM. I mean, if you just Google some stuff on there, or there's just such a subculture of things out there that we don't even know, that we don't even understand. And I really think people who make it their business to know have a better shot at protecting their kids. That's my personal opinion, so don't hang me for it. But I listened to a speaker in July, I think, and she inspired me and opened my eyes to a whole nother thing. Not just are these kids putting themselves in danger, you know, from meeting strangers or being taken advantage of, but there is a whole epidemic of sex trafficking, not only around the world, but it's happening more in the United States than we even realize. And this woman that's within my Juice Plus company has started a not-for-profit foundation called Pure Hope. If you get a chance, Google that. Pure Hope Foundation, and her name is Catherine Lee. And she's trying to educate people about these internet dangers and about, you know, the risks that girls are taking, and also to educate men to stand up and be protectors of women, because so many men are the perpetrators, or so many men are not taking these things seriously enough as protectors of their wives and daughters, you know. And teenage girls, someone telling them they were pretty, someone telling them things they want to hear. How many grown adult women have been seduced into affairs out of their marriage because of the fact that someone told them they were pretty and they weren't hearing it at home? I mean, if adult women can be at risk for that kind of predatory behavior, how much more so is your 14-year-old? And I just want you to think about these things today. I'm not trying to, you know, inspire a lot of snooping on your kids. I basically tell my daughter these days, I don't want to read through her text messages, but I'm definitely going to see what she is putting out there for the whole world to see on the internet. If that causes me concerns, that's when we may have to have some talks about what's being sent by text or whatever. You know, there are ways you can still, I want to still give her trust, still give her a sense of independence to express herself, but I want to make sure that she's thinking about what she's expressing. And I need to make sure and remind her if something could be a potential safety risk. That's my job as a parent. And I love my kids so much that is my number one job in life. No matter what else I'm doing, my number one job is to love and protect her. So I hope this was educating for you guys, and please leave me some feedback or private message me. If you have any questions or want more information about the Pure Hope Foundation, I'd be happy to direct you to that site and more about what they do. So thanks for listening.